Okay, so first of all, good morning everyone, and welcome to MIP Africa, and of course to Cape Town if you're not from Cape Town. My name's Lisa Minnie, and I've just recently started at the city of Cape Town. So first of all, um, I just want you to give you an overview of the team, because not a lot of people understand where the city of Cape Town, where the film office sits in the city of Cape Town, because it's fairly new. So we fall under the Safety and Security Directorate in the city of Cape Town, and we are situated in the Events and Film Department. So over the last couple of years, the department is headed up by Leonora de Souza Silva. She's the director. And then we've got a head of events coordination, which is Rowalna Williams, and she's got a team that focuses on event funding and also event communications. We have Marianne Opperman, who is the head of events safety and security. Her function is events management, so that's the activation of all the big eventing and the running and the stuff that's taking place at the stadium. They're all involved in all that strategic eventing for the city of Cape Town. We obviously got our finance department, which is headed up by Rihanna Brown. And then we've got an acting head of events and film permitting. So it's split into two offices, one specifically focused on events permitting, and then we've got an office focused on film permitting, and that is headed up by Daniel Rezant. And everybody knows Anton Smith. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here today to answer any of your permitting questions, but he is the man that everybody goes to on a Wednesday to discuss their film permitting issues or needs. And then newly formed, and I'm only in office for the last it's not even been 2 months, is the Little Film Cape Town brand, which will be headed up by me. And I don't have a team yet, so it's me for the moment. Thank you. So I'm going to just give it a little bit of a historical, we're going to go back a bit, okay? So I can set the tone and you can understand where we are and how we got here. So 2016, the formerly known Cape Film Commission closed down. Then a film study was commissioned by the Department of Economic Development and Tourism, which is Western Province government, and DDAT, which is specifically focused on economic development and tourism, and then Westgrow, who is the official trade agency of the Western Cape. The city of Cape Town got involved, and we did a research study on the Western Cape sector. So in 2017, that sector study was released. And it came back with a number of findings and recommendations. And I should actually change the slide. So basically, as you can see, 2017, it came back and it said we need to have a Western Cape Film Commission. We need to focus on skill development initiatives. We need a more inclusive film permit office and website. We need to increase production infrastructure. We need to focus on having a academy of excellence, focused on growing strategic skills. We need to really look at our film permit office and tariffs, and also training government in understanding the film and media sector, and then of course the lobbying of our film incentives. So between 2017 and 2024, I must remind you, for a few years we were all stuck with COVID, and everybody's resources were reshuffled into the needs of coping through that particular time, and the Film Cape Town brand had to take a standstill. So, since then, what the team at the Events and Film Department has done was that they have developed a new brand, and the new brand is called Film Cape Town. And they've so far created a website. They've also started a location library. And they're also in the process of updating the filming bylaws, which will soon be released. And then they also updated the film policy, which was released in 2022, and they have formulated a new film strategy. Then they're also looking at, in the pipeline, upgrading our online permitting system, because there are some hiccups with that that we know of, and so when we get there, the permitting team are looking at upgrading that entire space. And then, of course, the last step is the formulation of a film office inside the city of Cape Town. And the core function there would be promotion and driving economic growth. So, next slide. So, when we look at the film strategy, and we look at the national landscape, the film strategy is aligned to all the different plans. So we looked at the National Development Plan. We aligned to provincial plans like Growth for Jobs. And of course, the city has its own integrated development plan, and all of what we need to do is aligned to all of these plans. And of course, all the other things like the resilience strategy, looking at climate change and all of those things has been incorporated into what we need to drive as a city. So that's basically the strategic alignment. So what are our desired outcomes? We want to position Cape Town as a globally competitive destination. We need to drive more economic opportunities and create jobs through them. We want to create a more enabling environment for you as producers to produce. We want to ensure that all our regulatory bodies, because we often work with different departments, transnets and so forth, you know, it's not just the film permitting office, we work with a bunch of regulatory departments, and to work together to address where all our stucknesses are in terms of assisting the industry. And then, of course, building a resilient industry, because you know the last couple of years we've been attacked by a bunch of stresses, the drought, which we are gearing and getting ready for in case it happens again. You know, climate change is a real challenge for us, and so we're going to have to adapt and become resilient to all those kind of shocks that might hit us again over the next. I mean, we've dealt with COVID, and last year, of course, we had an industry shocker, which was the strikes, and how do we start becoming more resilient without having to, you know, necessarily service and look at our own IP and all sorts of other stuff. So, and then, of course, driving diversity and inclusion is a very big thing for us. We want to start looking at programs and supporting initiatives that will drive sustainability, inclusion, and diversity. So, ultimately, the city's film office would be to, our vision basically is to build a thriving, innovative, resilient, and transformed film industry, positioning Cape Town once again as a leading film hub in Africa. So, the 4 strategic pillars that we are focused on is championing skills development, okay? We're going to start looking at programs that's going to basically filter into all of that. Marketing and sales is going to be big. We're going to re-look at the Film Cape Town brand, the existing websites. We're going to really start working with industry to know what you're doing, how we're doing it, and so forth. And of course, once again, the last pillar is also looking at our infrastructure, where we need investment opportunities, how do we get more infrastructure in place, and obviously to get the business here. So, just in terms of the Film Cape Town services, the office, as it grows, would like to be the primary point of contact for all producers interested in filming in Cape Town. Okay, we're here to answer all your questions on the local film and media industry, what are available services you need, guidance on what kind of infrastructure we have in place in the city, and also what kind of services we are able to assist you with. We also want to be part of facilitating connections to your businesses, as well as to other local or national, local, provincial government departments that we all work with. And over the years, we have built really great working relationships with all our national, provincial partners. So we want to ensure that we're able to facilitate those connections for you. We also, of course, want to ensure that you ease of doing business in the city. We want, if you have stucknesses, let us know. Let us see how we can address it. And of course, we know that we've got some policy issues in the ecosystem that our office, Westgrow, the Department of Economic Development, and many other government agencies are trying to lobby in the background to alert national government on what is creating uncertainty for investors. So a lot of that work has been done behind the scenes that some filmmakers are not really aware of. We also will be providing some funding opportunities, and we also want to guide filmmakers on where the pockets of money is based in South Africa. And we also can assist with guidance on who to meet with your film incentives, and also visa requirements. We work very closely with the film industry visa assistance. So anything that you need in order to operate, to bring your international clients here, we would like to be involved in some way or the other. Also sharing resources on green sustainability, how your sets can become more green, who to go to for guidance and so forth. And then we also have, like I said, we have an online library of images which you can go register for, you can download it, you can use it as how you want, and we obviously would like to grow that after time. And then we also get involved with international inbound missions, so we work very closely like with the embassies and so forth. When they come here with the delegations, we get involved, we help showcase the industry and all that has got, we brag, we say, come here, we're so great, I mean, we've got everything. So, yeah, and then of course, once again, guidance on navigating the regulatory environment as well. So some people don't know that, you've got to speak to PRASA. If you're going to film at the V&A, there's a certain process that you need to follow. So we're trying to streamline all of those processes over time. Then, in terms of our film permit support, I've got Terence, my colleague here, that headed up that department for a long time. So if you do have any questions after I'm done speaking around permitting, you can ask him. But their focus is mainly on issuing permits for municipal-owned property, okay? And then they also provide guidance on the filming bylaws. And on a Wednesday morning, the office sets up meeting with Location Scouts Productions to have discussions around the needs or special needs of your projects. So the next slide just gives you an indication on the scale of stakeholders that we work with. So Film Cape Town, we work with the tourism officers, whether it be SAT, Cape Town Tourism. Internationally, we're working with embassies, South African embassies. We also locally are national government agencies like the Department of Trade and Industry, Sports, Arts and Culture, just met the new minister, and the IDC, the National Film and Video Foundation, and obviously KZN Film Commission, Gauteng Film Commission, ECDC, which is the Eastern Cape Development Corporation, and then locally, Western Cape Government, Westgrow, the other municipalities around the Western Cape. We're also involved with Association for Film Commissioners International. We're also looking at building close relationships with Locations Managers Guild International to showcase our location. And then, of course, festivals. We support Encounters for the Docky guys, MIP Africa's our flagship, Cape Town International Animation Festival, and, of course, the Africa Games Week, which will take place later this year. And then in terms of associations, we're working with all the associations in different ways. We're always punting people to become members if they can. And also they do a lot of work in terms of lobbying the issues that are specific to their industry. And we've got phenomenal working relationships. And obviously with the private sector, with all the studios, with the post-production houses, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So the one thing that we want to do is to know who you are. If you're situated in the city of Cape Town, we want to know what your services are. We want to know what kind of films you make, the genre you focus on, so we can get more organized and we know and can understand our ecosystem a little bit better and get really organized as a city. So, the much-awaited Film Fund. So for the last couple of years, our Alderman J.P. Smith, who is our political head for safety and security in the city, has spoke about his 4 million rand film fund. And soon, the film fund will be released. The call will be released. Yeah, so here it is, finally. We're in the last stages of finalizing everything. But as a city, okay, there is a little bit of, we've got some time constraints with this financial year. So the City of Cape Town's financial year starts the 1st of July, it ends the 30th of June, okay? Right, so our focus in terms of film support for this financial year is going to be a bit tight, because once we put the money, the call out, we might have a few months only to have these projects selected, and then it has to be made by the 30th of June. I'm going to say it again, by the 30th of June. So, obviously, our main focus is economic development. That is our core function as local government. So we are going to look at projects that has the ability to drive economic development and create jobs through the value chain. We're going to look at projects that will have the ability to promote the city of Cape Town. We'll look at projects that will support emerging film and media talent base through upskilling and training initiatives. So are you shooting? What kind of skills are we looking at? I mean, we've got a lot of trainees, we've got a lot of internships and all of those things, but what are the CS skills that you're training? So a little bit more innovative than, just the new entrants. We want to look at stuff like, possibly like that. We also look at projects that can drive sustainability, diversity, and inclusion. And we're going to look at stuff that obviously showcases Cape Town's rich history and culture, which is very important for us, and with the potential to drive further investment opportunities into the industry. So that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on, what kind of projects we're going to look at. Once we put the call out, all the information was going to be on the Film Cape Town website, so you will be able to read, you'll be able to see what kind of projects we're looking for, where you're going to find the application form. It will answer all the questions you might have, how the payment will possibly work, and the next thing, so that I can get you guys ready, is compliance. Okay, the City of Cape Town is governed by the Municipal Finance Management Act, so this is where things get difficult because we have to stay within the parameters of this as government. Like I said, our financial year starts the 1st of July, ends the 30th of June, and we have to ensure that our projects are paid in alignment with the Act. All applications, okay, as a company, if you want to apply to it, you need to have this in place. You need to be registered on the City of Cape Town as the suppliers database. You need to be registered on National Supplier Database, which is called the Central Suppliers Database. You also have your company registration documents in place. If you are applying for an amount of less than 50,000 Rand, you just need to have an income and expenditure report for your company. If you are applying for funding more than 50,000 Rand, you need to have audited financials in place. You need to have your proof of banking and a valid tax clearance or PIN, and your BE status certificate needs to be submitted, and public liability insurance for up to 20 million Rand needs to be in place as well, and your municipal account needs to be in place. So if you're a homeowner, you must be up to date. If you are in arrears, you would need to have a payment plan in place, okay? And you need to prove that to the city as part of the application. And if you're renting, you need to just get proof that your owner is up to date. So, and then in terms of funding as well, it is just not monetary support that would be offered. It would be services as well. So the city offers a bunch of services, and some services your production might need. You're more than welcome to apply for either a little bit of money, either services, or actually a combination of both that we'll look at, yeah? So then, just to give you an idea, there's such a lot going on, and I'm one person, so we're going to start looking at obviously reviving the brand, again, the brand out there, and activations, and we will start looking at it in various ways. We're going to redo the website, we're going to work on content strategies, okay? And, around the website, actually, just before I go, we would like all the locals to actually take the pledge, just a pledge to ensure that you're going to work and work with us in many ways, because this is a joint initiative with industry. We want to work with you and ensure that we are promoting you in all your glory. So once you take the pledge, we will get your details, and we can also add you to the database and a newsletter, so you can start getting updates and alerts to industry news and so forth. And then with around content strategies, we want to start working closely with industry. We want to know what you're shooting, where it's going to be released, the dates it's going to be released, so that we can start celebrating the content that you're producing and where it's also been distributed. In terms of social media, we've got social media platforms. We've got the Insta at Filmmaking Cape Town. We've got X, and we've got YouTube. We'll add LinkedIn later. But we really want you to get on board and start promoting the Film Cape Town brand as we start going in the next couple of months. And then, of course, we're looking for influencer partnerships. So if you're working on projects with really cool people, whether that be really good directors or producers or cast that are willing to say, hey, our shot in Cape Town was awesome, we need that, okay? So even if it's little snippets of you sending us information, tell us what you're doing, and we can try and incorporate all of those things in. But we need you guys to also work with us. We can't be running after every production as to who's shooting where. It's really a lot when you're a tiny team. And then, of course, please get onto our database so we can keep you updated with email marketing. And then, of course, our fam tours and inbound hostings. We do a lot of that throughout the year. We really do showcase different studios. We take them to the big studios and stuff. If you've got a product that we should know about, because what I try to do is also to take them to different, studios depending on the needs of the producers or the filmmakers, let us know. If you've got gear, you start a new initiative, tell us all about it, and we can see how and when over time we can incorporate it into that promotion. And then, of course, film tourism. I mean, goodness, we live in the best city, well, the second best city in the world, and there's a gap here. And film plays an important role, and this is my area of, I love this space, and I feel that we're going to do a lot more over the next years, depending on the films, the locations you shoot. So when you're making your films, where you're shooting, what are you showcasing? If you can do all of that, and you can show Cape Town for Cape Town, we get more tourists here. So, that's how we will start looking at driving our promotional activities. Target markets. So, we've got co-production treaties with 10 countries, namely France, Canada, Germany, Italy, UK, New Zealand, Australia, Ireland, Netherlands, Brazil. I know the NFEF is doing a lot of work in this space. They are the custodians of driving the co-production treaties. Canada and High Commissioner and the Minister of Arts and Culture, Gates McKenzie, had just signed an updated co-production treaty between Canada and South Africa. And there's money there, there's a development fund there. There's a development fund in Brazil. There's a development fund in the Netherlands. So we need to start looking at working with the different countries, how we tap into the money, because money is tight globally. And I mean, in terms of our service industry, our top service industry is the US. It is the UK. It's always been Germany, France, the Netherlands, and Canada. So we want to tap into more. I mean, there's other service spaces as well, but that's been our core markets, right? And then obviously we've got to focus on BRICS because we're part of BRICS. So how do we start doing more business with the BRICS countries? And then in terms of Africa, obviously, African cities that are doing phenomenal work, we want you to start doing more co-productions and working closely with the likes of Nigeria, Kenya, Morocco, Namibia, and out of all of those, Morocco's got some money. How are we tapping into that space, So I don't know if there's much international, because I wanted to give an update on Film Cape Town, where we are, where we're going. And then in terms of our value proposition, that's our proposition, okay? As a destination, we have the Cape Town Film Studios, okay? It has been our economic powerhouse for the last couple of years. It has had productions from around the world, from Universal, Amazon, Netflix, you name it. They've all been there, shot there, and they love shooting here. In terms of more infrastructure, we've got the newly additions to the New Vision Studios. These studios have been around only since October, servicing quite a number of projects and commercials over the last season. And they've got about 3 stages that's kitted out, and their plan is to have 10. They're also based on one of our popular filming locations. Commercials love to shoot here. There's 4,000 acres of land. You can really do a lot there. So you can film in the studio, and you can have backlots. We're home to Filmscape, which is our LED, and Africa's first LED stage, which is situated at Atlantic Studios. And we've got every kind of studio you can think of. But we do sometimes run out of space because some companies take them for a couple of months at a time, I don't have to tell you and remind you that we've got highly skilled crews, and we've got a great international reputation when it comes to crewing. We also have highly skilled creative teams and artisans, okay, that does build phenomenal sets like these. It is magnificent the work that these people are doing, from making wigs to making shoes, costume, prosthetics. We've got specialists in every single department you can think of. Diversity of locations, you need infrastructure, you need beach, endless coastlines. We have our own deserts like 40 minutes away from here, Atlantic Dunes. It is one of our most popular locations, not far away. And then that's on the backlots of Lawrenceford that was raised by wolves, creating new worlds. People absolutely love it. And when apparently the director said when the clouds came over there, it was just next level. And then, of course, in terms of talent, South Africa is growing our talent that's hitting the international stages. And we want to grow more of that talent base here and recognize the work that our South Africans and our Cape Townian talent is up to, celebrated. And then, of course, linked to our sustainability goals is driving the green. How green is your set? This is something that's very serious, that needs to be addressed and discussed. And we need to find solutions to ensure that we're doing more in this space. And so GreenSet is one company that's been working with productions. They've been winning awards and getting recognized globally for the work that they're doing here in South Africa. And if you don't know more about it, please Google them and check out what their opportunities are. Lastly, our exchange rate in comparison to UK pound, the US dollar, and so forth. You can earn, you can get value for your money, and you're going to get value for your money for exceptional quality work here in South Africa. And then, of course, South Africa offers film incentives, and that is administered by the Department of Trade and Industry, and you can tap into that for a little bit of cherry on top. So, yeah, dankie, like we would say here in South Africa. Thank you. Because I'm a proud Cape Townian, I would just like to say, we were voted the world's second best city in Time Out in 2024's ranking. Okay? We're also one of the best run metros in South Africa, according to the GPI rankings, Governance Performance Indicator GPI. And also, we are a leading destination for festivals, business events, tourism, and, of course, film. So I invite you to get connected. We invite you to come and live, work, play, and invest in Cape Town. Thank you.